Insects may be the key to stabilizing the global food supply. According to the UN, if edible insects become a part of the mainstream global diet, we can reduce greenhouse gases by 18% and lower the average cost of food globally by 33%. Biddy is taking a look at food startup that uses high-protein cricket flour as the basis for a line of energy bars and gluten-free baked goods. Biddy seeks to remove cultural taboos around eating insects and popularize them as a delicious, sustainable ingredient that may help alleviate global food scarcity. So please help me welcome Biddy.
Well, they've kind of already given away the punchline to what I'm going to be talking about today. Transition. Okay, so how many people have eaten insects before? Raise your hands. Yes, this is great. Well, you know what? Actually, everyone eats them not on purpose. There are some really crazy stats, like over your lifetime, you eat several pounds of insects just by accident. So bad news for those of you who think it's gross. Good news for us, because it's actually really great. But so the punchline here is that 80% of the world already eats insects. The West is just really late to the party. There are 1,900 different species of insects that are already consumed by people all over the world, which just means that we need to kind of join up and figure out how to make this highly sustainable superfood something that we all eat, because the West certainly has its share of problems with sustainability and nutrition. So that's actually what I'm going to be talking about today, is how these little guys, I know what you're thinking, like save the world, sounds like a big claim, but really they do have that power. So a little biology lesson, the cricket and the shrimp, very similar. What you may not know is that they're actually cousins. So shrimp stayed in the sea, crickets went up on land. The rest is history. So guess what? If you haven't already been breathing them in while you're biking, you've been eating them with cocktail sauce and everything else. Maybe they'll even have them at lunch today. But Time Magazine called edible insects one of the biggest food trends of 2015, and we're really excited to obviously be part of that. A little word about food trends. So consider the lobster. Did you know that actually was formerly in Boston only food that was suitable for prisoners and as used for fertilizer? Back in the 1800s, it was so abundant that people were just throwing it whatever problem they could find. And what changed for the lobster actually was trains and the rise of canned foods. So, in Boston, everyone was like, I'm over it, it's 2 feet deep, no thank you. But in the Midwest, on trains would position it as this rare and exotic food item, and people loved it because guess what? Lobster's really tasty. So that's what changed. It's what turned it into an 11-cent canned good into $14 a pound now. So, food trends can change really, really quickly once people realize that the thing that they think is gross is actually really delicious. So I'm going to get into kind of the world-saving part of this. So most of you, are probably pretty familiar with these numbers already. We're going to have 9 billion people on Earth by 2050, and we do not have enough water or food to feed everybody, period. We need 70% more food, and we need 55% more water just to meet basic needs, which is pretty crazy. So where is all of that going to come from? It's not going to come from animal protein. Animal protein is quite resource intensive, and it's also going to be priced out of reach for most people. So it's just not going to be an option at all. There are lots of people working on alternative protein ideas, growing it in labs. There are all kinds of exciting things happening with plants as well. But we definitely need to approach this from many different directions, because 70% more food is a lot. So, really here in the West, what we can start to do is, move protein off the plate. Right now we have this relationship with, a plate that has a big hunk of meat, maybe a vegetable and a starch, and that's how we consume our protein mostly. But really this has got to change, and that's actually what my company Biddy Foods does. So we have made this all-purpose flour. You can substitute it for anything. It performs a lot like buckwheat flour, actually. We have a patent on it as well. And you can make pancakes, you can make quick breads, you can fry things with it. We have all of our consumers do all kinds of crazy things that we thought were a little, little strange, but have worked out really well. So we're finding that people are using our ingredient to start making foods that are traditionally, pancakes, like what's the nutritional value there? It's not a whole lot. But consider what could happen if you're fortifying it with protein, with fiber, and I'll get into the nutritional benefits in a second. So, for those of you who said ooh in the audience, and I'll see you at lunch, the biggest thing is the visual barrier, right? Nobody wants to think about popping a whole insect into your mouth, even if, like me, you've had it before, and it's actually really delicious. I don't know how many of you have had like Oaxacan tacos with, oh God, they're so good. It just tastes like nuts. But we recognize that for most people who, have an aversion to it, it is this visual barrier. It's getting over the idea that, there are legs and wings and stuff. Even though we eat shrimp, if you've ever been to a slaughterhouse, the whole process of, humanely growing meat it's much more humane to grow crickets. So that's actually another thing. So, a lot of people ask us what insect flour actually looks like. Cricket powder, this is what cricket powder looks like. It just looks like normal, kind of looks like brown sugar here actually at this size, but it's nutty, it's really delightful. It can be mixed into all different kinds of applications, but it's a lot like making coffee. So the crickets are put into a cold place, and that's how they meet their maker. And then we boil them to remove any pathogens, and then it is really exactly like coffee. We slow roast them to bring out the natural nuttiness, and then we grind it up, and that's that. So it's a lot more humane than what the chickens and cows and everything else that we eat on a daily basis goes through. And hello, can I get the next slide? Thank you. So from a nutritional perspective, this is one of the things that really excites me and probably will speak to this crowd the most, is that insect protein is very highly nutritious, not just in protein, but also in all of these other areas. More iron than spinach, equitable to other forms of animal protein, and has chock full of omega-3 fatty acids, all kinds of good stuff. And we think that one of the really powerful things that we would like to do is help the 1 billion people who go hungry every day. Right now we're making cookies and flour, and we're selling it into the US and European markets, but really we think that this has the power to fundamentally change the way that people are fed all over the world, and that's really exciting. So, there we go. So let's talk about the environmental benefits for a second. So most of you, I don't know how many people are from California, but globally we use 70% of our water for agriculture. And in California, you may have noticed we've been in a drought until pretty recently. We're still technically in one. But we have a very unhealthy relationship with water in this country. In fact, most of our problems actually derive from our relationship with protein production. So, a lot of people gave up showers. I saw it on all my social feeds. Oh, I'm going to stop showering. I'm not going to flush the toilet. I'm not going to do all these things. Like, awesome guys, do that. Pay attention, be mindful, but like not good math. It's just not good math. It's 17.2 gallons of water for a shower, the average shower, unless you're a 30-minute shower, which that's not good in these trying times. But it's the same amount of water to make 10 quarter-pound hamburgers as it is to not shower for an entire year. Just think about that. 1 gallon of water to make 1 almond, but seriously, 10 hamburgers, all your showers for the whole year. So think about that the next time you are deciding what to order. That's going to be the only other way that we really change our relationship with this. Other forms of animal protein aren't that great either, but beef is definitely the #1 offender when it comes to this. This is another really shocking thing. 1/3 of all food globally is lost or wasted. So it can be a supply chain issue, it can be any number of things. Rich countries alone waste as much food as the entire net production of sub-Saharan Africa. The entire net production, we waste it. Like Europe, US, it's wasted. Look at these delightful looking, I would eat this stuff. They're just ugly. It doesn't mean they're not edible, but we throw away things like this. We throw away ugly food and let it go to waste. So crickets are omnivores. Crickets will eat anything. We have a really, kind of big vision for our company, which is that we start to, we feed the world we also start to close these supply loops and you know, start to bring in alternative food waste sources into the crickets' feed so that we can build this big virtuous cycle that really incorporates a lot of different things that we just completely kind of screw up from a food production perspective now. So I will close with, I think that crickets, obviously, you know, they check a lot of boxes for sustainability. They check a lot of boxes for nutrition, for the ability to feed the world. And, you know, I really do. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't, but I think that they are a huge key to, you know, stabilizing the food supply moving forward. And also, they're really delicious. And with that in mind, I know I'm standing between you and lunch, which is never a fun place to be as a speaker, but we have some very top secret new Biddy products for you to try today. So I hope all of you will enjoy them, and please come chat with me afterwards if you have more questions about crickets. Thanks.